Dark clouds gathered over Africa in the 19th century. Europe wasn't just coming, it was already carving up the continent. Kingdom after kingdom collapsed. But in the highlands of Ethiopia, one man was preparing for war. He was no ordinary king. He was a diplomat, a modernizer, a master of strategy. And when Italy came knocking, he didn't flinch. He made them bleed. This is the story of Menelik II, the African emperor who outwitted Europe and became a symbol of black resistance for generations to come. Born in 1844 in Ankoba, Menelik was the son of King Haile Melekot of Shewa, a semi-independent region of Ethiopia. But as a child, Menelik's fate was snatched from him. In 1855, the rising warlord Kasa, who would become Emperor Tewodros II, invaded Shewa. His army was unstoppable. Menelik's father died of illness during the conflict, and the young prince was taken as a royal hostage to the northern fortress of Magdala. He was just 11 years old. There, under Tewodros' rule, Menelik watched his nation change. He studied, listened, and waited, but he was no puppet. In 1865, at age 21, Menelik escaped Magdala and rode back to Shewa, alone, defiant, and ready. His people welcomed him as a king. A lion had returned to his den. Menelik didn't inherit peace. He had to earn it. For over a decade, he consolidated power through diplomacy and battle. He married Teitu Betul, a noblewoman known for her fierce intellect and political shrewdness. Together, they built alliances with rival chiefs and outmaneuvered enemies. In 1889, the sitting emperor Johannes IV was killed in battle against the Mahdists of Sudan. The empire was in chaos. Menelik moved quickly. He marched north, forged key alliances, and was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia on November 3, 1889. But his greatest challenge was just beginning. Europe was watching, and one empire in particular had its eyes set on Ethiopia. While much of Africa was falling under colonial rule, Menelik was building. He introduced the telegraph, constructed roads, brought in European experts to modernize the military. He launched coinage reform, built hospitals, and laid plans for railways. But modernization wasn't about imitation. Menelik wasn't trying to become like Europe. He was preparing to defend Ethiopia from it. He knew the only path to sovereignty was strength. If the story of Menelik II surprises you, imagine how many more stories have been buried. Subscribe, because Silent Dynasties is uncovering them.
In 1889,
Menelik signed the Treaty of Wuchale with Italy. The treaty had two versions, one in Amharic, one in Italian. But Italy had added a deception. The Amharic version stated that Ethiopia could use Italy to communicate with foreign powers. The Italian version claimed Ethiopia must, making it an Italian protectorate. Menelik was furious. He immediately renounced the treaty. Europe dismissed him. They assumed Ethiopia would be easy to conquer, so Italy invaded. But Menelik had been preparing for this moment for over a decade. On March 1st, 1896, the hills of Adwa erupted in battle. The Italians brought 17,000 troops. Menelik led over 100,000 Ethiopian soldiers, armed with modern rifles, cannons, and strategic brilliance. But numbers weren't everything. It was the coordination. Oromo cavalry, Amhara infantry, Tigrayan scouts, united under one banner. The Italians were surrounded. Within hours, their lines collapsed. Over 7,000 Italians lay dead. Thousands more were captured. The victory shocked Europe. For the first time, an African power had decisively defeated a modern European army. Ethiopia was never colonized. Menelik's victory at Adwa became a rallying cry across Africa and the diaspora. Harlem, Kingston, Accra. Black communities everywhere celebrated Ethiopia's defiance. Menelik ruled until 1913. In his final years, he suffered strokes, but the empire he built endured. Under his reign, Ethiopia had doubled in size. It had connected tradition with progress, and it had refused to bow to colonialism. His wife, Empress Taitu, ruled in his name during his decline, maintaining stability. Even after his death, Menelik's shadow loomed large. Haile Selassie, who would rise decades later, stood on his shoulders. Menelik II didn't just lead an army, he led a resistance. He defied an empire, not with rage, but with intelligence, patience, and strategy. In a time when Europe thought it could divide Africa like a map on a table, he reminded the world that some lines can't be crossed, not without consequence. This is Silent Dynasties, and this is just one of many stories they tried to erase. But we're bringing them back